Hey there, my name is LexC, and thank you so much for joining me for another read along of Omarion's Unbothered, The Power of Choosing Joy. We're going to be diving into Chapter 8, Growth. In early 2021, I was at an iconic studio called The Record Plant, recording songs for a new project. The room I was working in is renowned for being used by artists of a certain caliber. Chris Brown and I actually recorded his Supposed to Be verse there. It was good to be back in the room that birthed the biggest record that I have to date. Supposed to Be is a 4-time multi-platinum song. This room and place are very special. In the room next door, during my reunion visit, Ron and Ernie Isley were there working on a new album. I hadn't seen or spoken to Ron Isley in years. The last time I saw him was when I recorded the Girlfriend video with B2K in 2002. Ron was one of B2K's biggest supporters all those years ago, and it felt serendipitous that we were in the same recording studio almost 20 years later. I sat in that recording booth thinking about divine timing and the power of being infinitely aligned with what is meant for me. A lot of the time, I feel like we as people can get caught up in how things should be and how we want them to be, but everything isn't congruent with our plans. Over time, my career and life experiences have taught me that things will shift and change, and I cherish knowing that there is where beauty is. When Ron Isley saw me, it was all love. We chopped it up, and he played me his new album. With him being a living legend, I've always admired and valued what he brings to the art of music and performing. At that time, watching him at almost 80 years old still have the magic touch and unwavering talent showed me that the career I wish to have as I age and change is possible. Ron was looking fly and fresh. He was still in the studio making hits. Witnessing that left a lasting impression on me. It shifted my perspective and gave me hope that I can continue to transform through my art regardless of my age. Watching Ron showed me that I don't have to get old with music. I can thrive and stay invigorated by my craft and by the sounds around me. As Ron was leaving the studio with his brother, I was sitting outside with my brother and cousin. I introduced them and we had a powerful conversation about life, legacy, and purpose. He left me with some simple and moving words that I continue to keep with me today. Y'all gonna be all right. I know y'all are gonna be all right. I'm not worried about that at all. I remember being floored and grateful for that salute from one of the best musicians who ever walked. At that moment, Mr. Isley was serving as a much-needed reflection. That's what infinite possibilities create. They make experiences into full-circle moments. I hadn't seen this man since I was a kid, and to have him affirm me and my existence so strongly was beyond impactful. It was like this random run-in wasn't random at all. I was being shown something in divine timing. Being deeply immersed in my spiritual path, I knew this run-in was not a coincidence. I was being reminded how important it is to maintain a positive attitude and outlook on life, even when things are not going as planned. Infinite possibilities create divine timing if we allow it. If we drop our guard and don't get caught up in how we think things should happen, but instead accept how things happen, the true beauty and teachings of life will be abundant and bright. In doing so, we open ourselves up to something better and just for us. I left the exchange remembering to walk my path and trusting that it's okay when folks we thought were meant to be a book in our lives turn out to be only a chapter. Because there will always be more space to write and rewrite our personal stories. The older I get, the more I trust the timing of my life. The more I lean into loss and do-overs with curiosity and awe versus a closed heart and mind. No matter what happens, there's a possibility for a greater outcome and clearer reflections recognized by those who really and truly see us. This is why it's crucial to do your best and not get hung up on how things happen. We cannot control what happens to us in this life, but we can control how we choose to show up and face adversity. Everything won't always pan out how we expect it to, and to me, that has exercised my commitment to being emotionally strong and sound. Building on my strength has been game-changing for me, especially on a spiritual level. It's shown me that the importance of realizing what I bring to the table in my career, relationships, and overall life. I also have learned on a deeper level how to see the value of my resilience and understand. Creating a sense of value in our life is sacred and requires being strong-willed enough to commit, even when things feel like they aren't in our favor. This, for me, all comes back to the power of choice and self-belief. Energy check. Infinite possibilities. What kind of future do you see for yourself? Do you have the patience that it takes to manifest your wildest dreams? Are you willing to accept what you need to do in order to improve yourself? Are you content with your life? How will you unlock your abundance? Being realistic about what I bring to the table has catapulted me to a space of spiritual expansion. It's one thing to say you're strong. It's another to take it a step further and put your strengths, whatever they are, into practice. Reflecting on my career as a whole, it's evident that sometimes my strengths didn't always work out as I envisioned. Taking the good with the bad has afforded me a new sense of open-mindedness. And in my moments of disappointment, I also am equipped with an arsenal of strength. Things shifting doesn't strip me of my power. It offers me a new perspective and a new chance to shift. This process is all a part of the building and rebuilding. It puts us in a position to trust ourselves more because we're actually building and challenging ourselves to improve. Step by step, I shape my greatness. Building on my strengths is critical to me because it's tangible. It's something that I know can support my longevity on all fronts. I'm confident about this because it's allowed me to use my gifts and in better ways, in different ways. It gives me a sense of value, especially when I've put the work in. When we do the work, no one can ever take that away. One of my strengths is my ability to remain positive through life's sometimes hostile and harsh terrain. I take pride in being able to become positive in those moments. This has allowed me to choose who I want to be. It's also really helped me see new perspectives, and it's put me in a position to accept certain things as they are. Acceptance is a choice, one that allows me to build on my strength and my positivity. This mindset has helped me tremendously throughout my career, especially when I hit a low point with the members of B2K. I became even more grounded in my integrity as a man. I take pride in the fact that the people who I have encountered in life, be it the doorman, a taxi driver, or a colleague, are left with a sliver of happiness from me, one that leaves them holding me in high regard and mutual respect on a human level. Sometimes as entertainers, we can shy away from day-to-day interactions with people. What I've realized on my path is that we need those connections because it humanizes and normalizes our ability to show up and care for people. Even in my challenges with B2K, I've been able to hold on to wanting to connect with people and not lose sight of my character, even when I was being mistreated and disrespected. I am an evolved version of myself because of it all. No matter what I've been through, my ability to treat people with respect, kindness, and warmth continues to be a great strength. The exchange I had with Mr. Isley was a great reminder from the universe that I am aligned with my highest potential and the greater good. It's a superpower to be this way. Not everyone can move through the world with this type of demeanor and character. I know people are watching, and I want to encourage them to make the choices to rise even when life gets us down. Through my actions, I want to motivate people to do and be better, just like Mr. Isley did for me. Anytime I've done shows, I'm always saluting everybody because it's so important that people feel acknowledged. Building on that strength has allowed me to see that my energy permeates around the planet. Sometimes people run into me telling me stories that I don't remember, but they vividly remember. And they're like, I remember you and how kind you were to me. I don't want to lose that, even when the going gets tough. Every step of my path has helped me achieve a sense of gratitude and appreciation toward human life and our existence here on Earth. Thinking about my career as a musician, I've been reflecting on what growth looks like for me and how I will continue to transform. There are so many different layers to my purpose, and that reminder from Ron Isley made it very clear for me. I am committed to my well-being, not just as an artist, but as a free thinker, a dancer, a father, and a creative human being. The reinvigorating of purpose requires being aware of what it means to stretch and take on new challenges. A part of my personality gets excited to transition and find a new flow in life. Just like Ron expressed, I am not worried about it one bit. I am extremely mindful and curious about how I will grow in this next stage of my life. My Nana has always stressed to me that in this life, we should always be learning. This notion keeps me cued into my thought of being opened to the infinite possibilities of life. When we stop learning, we stop growing. I don't ever want to stop growing. We are not created to be stagnant. As a student of life, my knowledge will continue to expand and teach me how to be my best self. Adversity cannot and will not stop my growth. I am a believer in the power of choice, and even with the challenges that we all face in this life, I believe that having a positive outlook helps us cope with the daily dynamic of life changes. Staying stuck in negative thought cycles is a distraction from doing the work required of us to grow and change. I've adopted positivity as a way of life to feel more connected to myself and those around me. Living this way brings on constructive changes in our lives. It doesn't mean shitty things don't happen. It doesn't mean that we will avoid all negativity, but it does serve as a reminder that we are in control of how we choose to see things and let them affect us. In my personal quest, it makes me feel happier and lighter and opens up the pathway to a more successful life experience. Becoming self-aware and dedicated to managing my emotions has yielded an abundant outlook in my life. Living this way has given me the choice to see and experience a new perspective. It is never too late to change and start again. That is the lesson of infinite possibilities. That is the joy. Our overall health is directly linked to our mind and spirit, not just our bodies. As I unfold into the best version of myself, I choose to remember and believe that I am content, that I give myself room to grow and change as many times as I need to. And in the face of negativity, I will remember the grace that positivity offers my life. Being open to infinite possibilities leaves room for us to have faith and explore a more meaningful life experience as a whole. During our time on earth, we should commit to making the best of it, no matter what we are faced with. Do not be one of those people who choose to let their circumstances define them. Rise Up has your name on it. We are all capable of being the humans we want to be in this world. It takes effort, time, and commitment. But if you're open to the expansion that possibility has waiting for you, you can do what feels unattainable. This mindset is what sets us apart. We all have different ideas about what's valuable and what makes us feel best. Making our own choices about what we do is essential because it gives our life meaning. Making choices about what's necessary helps us become more independent and in charge of our lives, one of the most important aspects of life decision making. Every choice that we make affects our lives in a good or a bad way. The power of choice helps shape us and identify who we are to ourselves and other people. Remember always that you get to choose. You get to accept. You get to change and stay open to the infinite possibilities of this life and the time you have on this planet. No matter what you plan in life, you have to leave room for flexibility and change. There will be people and instances that try to stop you from being great. That is not your burden to carry. Your job is to stay focused and committed to your truth. Getting distracted and stuck on what is or isn't happening will keep you from doing the work you were called to do in the world. When distractions emerge, remember who you are and who you intend to be. There have been moments in my life, especially in my career, when I could have quit and walked away. However, doing so wouldn't have gotten me the outcome I said I wanted. Quitting is easy, and I don't take the easy way out. On your journey, there will be people waiting for you to quit or fail and not fulfill your dreams. It's important that we stay grounded and remember that we weren't born to keep company with misery. If there is anything or anyone in your space fueling doubt, consider leaving them behind. Keep in mind that the universe conspires for your dreams and works to make your desires come true. I am a true believer in manifestation, and I've seen it work in my life. I remember putting out into the world that I wanted to do a duet with a female artist. Not too long after, Summer Walker invited me to be on her new album, Still Over It. When I put that into the universe, I wasn't specific about whom I wanted to work with, and it was beautiful to collaborate with her and to witness manifestation work in my favor. Anyone trying to get in the way of that is not worthy of your time, space, and energy. To stay focused and have things work in your favor, You must be open to what's ahead. Trying to hold on to things that are beneath or behind you will only create confusion on your path. Stay close to clarity. If you're left feeling confused, it's time to change course. Trusting in and knowing what you want in life can become a reality if you work hard while you're manifesting what you want to bring to fruition. I think it's important to note that failure will happen even when you're working your ass off. That's a part of the game. This is often a test of, do you really want what you say you want? And how hard are you willing to work for it? So like my aligned experience with Ron, me being open to his wisdom, his presence, and his words of affirmation over my life were the reminders I needed to keep moving forward and being curious about what I want out of this experience. It showed me that my hard work has and will continue to pay off. His words of affirmation blessed me, and I will continue to reflect on them as my path changes and evolves into something bigger, better, and deeper. There are so many things I plan on doing within my life and career. Knowing that other people are watching and rooting me on, and have been for years, is an affirmation to keep going. A major takeaway here for me is that everyone isn't praying for my downfall. Most people are celebrating me and will continue to. Best of all, I am committed to celebrating myself. Keeping this mindset is crucial because life can be turbulent. We will get tested time and time again, sometimes on the same thing multiple times. And even when that is the case, you cannot quit. You may have to reroute and switch up a few times, but throwing in the towel isn't going to elevate you and push you toward the life you want to live. Settling isn't an option when you're destined for greatness. And like Ron Isley so graciously told me when leaving the studio, y'all gonna be all right. I know y'all are gonna be all right. I'm not worried about that at all. Okay, you did that. Now what's next? You can't just sit around doing nothing. Put your best foot forward and keep pressing on. Infinite Possibilities Mantra. My best self is my true self. I unlock. I take full responsibility for reducing stress in my own life. I unlock. I act out love, protection, and kindness. I unlock. The best is yet to come. I unlock. I am awakening my greatest potential and self-realization. I unlock. I remember the gifts that I was born with. I unlock. I am accepting responsibility and taking initiative. I unlock. I am opening up the door of infinite possibilities. I unlock. You know, every single time I read these chapters, I really feel like Omarion and I have a very similar way of thinking, because literally everything that he's been pointing out in this book, I'm just like, wow, I've just had these revelations. It's so refreshing to hear these things outside of myself, though, and to hear that somebody else has gone through the work of thinking and wondering, how do I continue to grow? And it makes me, even though, people want to hear how you specifically will say something because of who you are, but it's like, man, I wish I thought of a book like this first, but I have to wait until I am at that level, at the level of an Omarion, right? But anyway, there were definitely a few lines that stuck out to me in this chapter. And sorry, I just want to thumb through these. Okay, so the first one that I want to bring attention to is on page 152. Staying stuck in negative thought cycles is a distraction from doing the work required of us to grow and change. And then on page 153, no matter what you plan in life, you have to leave room for flexibility and change. Page 154, It's important that we stay grounded and remember that we weren't born to keep company with misery. If there is anything or anyone in your space fueling doubt, consider leaving them behind. And the reason I chose these lines, the reason why these stood out to me is because I've been trying to get this idea, this mindset into somebody that I know. Like, whatever you decide you deserve, that's what you're going to get. That is the energy that you're putting out into the world. And so if you always tell yourself that I would like for this to happen, but anytime I try, then this happens, or anytime I try, this goes wrong, well, then the energy that you're communicating to the universe is that no matter what I do, it will always go badly because I expect it to. And it's really hard to help somebody get out of that mindset of negativity, that negative mindset. There's a lot of, and I know because I've gone through it for myself, and I didn't reach out to anybody to help me get out of it. I kind of just crawled and clawed my way out of that little hole that I was in. But in going through it alone, I'm thankful that I went through it alone, because now I know that if it really came down to it and I had to do it by myself, I know that I'm capable. And even though it sucked and even though it felt lonely a lot of times, I have the capability to be able to do this alone if need be. So then what that tells myself, what that tells my mind, that it's even as much as I want the support, right? I have to be the first one to support myself. If I'm not supporting myself, how can I expect others to support me? And then further down the line, if I don't support others, how can I expect others to want to support me? But the thinking that's going along with what we just read on those lines that I picked out, if I always expect bad for myself, why should anyone else expect good? Why should anyone expect anything else? And why should anyone want to be around me if they know that this is what they're going to experience, right? So I've gone through that period of time where, and this is no shade against anybody, but I've felt like I've been around people who have cast doubt in me and casted insecurities in me, either by being around them or by some of the doubtful things that they were saying to me to make me question myself and make me question whether or not I was capable of doing something. And there was during my depressive year, because this was from my birthday last year was 2021, from December 2021 until literally August, September, maybe August or September of 2022. So almost a full year, I was really going through a depressive mode. And part of that was because I cut off certain people that I needed to cut off. Unfortunately, it could have been a lot shorter of a depressive time period if I wasn't messing with a guy that if I was not messing with a guy that I was not supposed to be messing with. But that's a whole nother story. Romantic partners are just as important as friendships, right? But I think part of what contributed to my anxiety and my loneliness, and it was going through a grieving period. Maybe that's more so what it is. Yeah. Maybe, and I didn't even start my own little timer. Maybe it was me going through not a depressive period, but just, well, it was depressive, but maybe it was more so a mourning period, because I was cutting people off who had been in my life for years, and I just stopped talking to people. And I didn't want energy around me, and negative energy. I didn't want negative energy around me. And I felt like this was not the right group for me to get inspiration or encouragement from, and support and cheering on, you know what I mean? And I think that's an important part of growth is, and I should have highlighted this part in the chapter, but when he was saying about, like, the things that you say you want, it's important to note that failure will happen even when you're working your ass off. That's part of the game. This is often a test of, do you really want what you say you want? And how hard are you willing to work for it? Part of working for it is cutting off the dead weight. It's trimming the dead roots. It's trimming the branches that are falling off so that new ones can grow in its place. It's no one really talks about it. I mean, people mention growing pains, but no one really talks about, like, how painful it actually is and how long it might take you to get over certain pains, or the fact that you may never get over certain pains. But for this lifestyle that you say you want, for this mindset that you say you want, for the kind of person that you say you want to be, are you willing to go through certain periods of pruning so that you can make space for the things that you want, the kind of person you say you want to be, the kind of habits you say you want to build? And that's an important part of growth. Realizing that it's going to hurt, it's going to suck sometimes, but making the conscious decision that I'm not going to feel my best all the time, but I know that this is something that needs to be done. So I'm going to continue to walk in it and walk forward and walk through it. And anybody who's listening out there, I hope that that can serve as encouragement to you. There's, I listened to Stephen Furtick from Elevation Church, and there was something he said, I don't remember which sermon it was from, but he said something along the lines of, if God showed you everything that you had to go through to get to where you said you wanted to be, or to get to what he had for you, how many of you would continue to go on the journey knowing that you have to suffer through certain things? And the answer is people would probably not get up off their ass and move. Of course, he didn't say that, he's a pastor, but people would probably not get up and move because they'd be too afraid of having to go through the thing that they know they're going to have to go through. But when you have an attitude of, I know things are not going to be peachy key 100% of the time, and I'm willing to put certain systems into place to remind myself that I need to be stronger during these moments, and now I'm going to continue to walk through it, I think it's very powerful. And that is one of the parts of growth that we need to highlight more. Having a plan for when we don't feel the best, having a plan for when we will inevitably fail, and having a plan for how to dig ourselves out of a hole. So I hope that you enjoyed this read along, and I hope that my reflection at the end helped you as well. Thank you so much for listening, and thank y'all for being patient as I release these slowly and get through this book slowly. It's a lot of self-work that has to happen with these. And even though it's slow, I'm still going through what I told myself. I want to read this book, audiobook style, and put it out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and YouTube. And that's what we're doing. It might be taking a little long, but I'm still doing it, right? And I encourage you to do the same. Despite the challenges, keep going, keep doing it. It's simple. No one said it would be easy, but it is simple, right? So thank you so much for listening. Please make sure that if you are listening or watching on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, please make sure you like, subscribe, follow, leave 5 out of 5 stars, leave a review, answer the poll question to let me know what you felt about the episode. If you want to go the extra mile in supporting me, then please consider doing so by becoming a patron at patreon.com/LexCATL. And for as little as $5 a month, that will show extra support, and you'll gain early access to a lot of the content that I do. And make sure you follow the LexC Quotes page on Instagram as well, at LexC Quotes. And thank you so much. My name is LexC. Until next time, peace.